Good afternoon. I'm Lega, Director of Education and Culture at the Kurdistan Regional Government United Kingdom representation. I would like to welcome our panelists and attendees to this webinar and wish a very happy International Women's Day to all women around the world. The KRG UK representation is hosting this webinar to mark International Women's Day and also celebrate what the Kurdish women have achieved and discuss how much more must be done to achieve gender equality for women. We will be focusing on a range of matters, including the role of women in different fields in society. This event will explore different themes addressed by our distinguished panelists in senior positions and key businesses in Kurdistan and abroad. Now, I would like to welcome Kakarwan, the KRG High Representative to the UK, to deliver a few remarks. Kakarwan, please welcome.
Thank you, Hawar Khan. Good afternoon to all, and good afternoon to distinguished participant speakers and to all attendees who are with us today on this momentous day where we celebrate the Women's International Day in this particular webinar to debate the status of the Kurdish women, their role and participation, as well as the obstacle and challenges that women and girls face. I'm glad that today we will hear from several strong, dedicated and enthusiastic women from different profession and expertise, be it politics, diplomacy, economy, author, and academics. It is clear that Kurdish women have been or have seen a crucial role throughout history and always appeared influential in changing and shaping society. This has reflected indeed on the government's plan and strategy in placing significant importance for further enhancing women's role and emphasizing on empowering women. Our representation would very much like to create an open platform for Kurdistani women and girls to showcase their extraordinary effort internationally and to fully paint their feeling and creativity despite the obstacles they face. It is an honor for us to proudly state that we are embracing a set of values that we share with the democratic society and advanced country: democracy, the rule of law, human rights, coexistence, and the empowering of women. These values must be protected. This is our choice, and we have to nurture and protect them continuously. Yesterday, we and the world witnessed the historic visit of His Holiness the Pope to Kurdistan region. This visit will powerfully symbolize the pressing need to enhance social cohesion and peaceful coexistence in and between the people and nation of the Middle East. It is also important in further emphasizing the common value and interest we hold that are aligned with our partners globally. Women's right is included indeed, and it is clearly recognized internationally. While I express my profound congratulations to women in Kurdistan and worldwide, I also profoundly appreciate all activists and non-governmental organizations who have had overwhelming role in protecting women's rights in Kurdistan and promoting gender equality. Women in Kurdistan have always played a prominent role in politics and society at different levels. They have had an influential role in the struggle. We proudly have a woman with us who was Peshmerga during the revolution era, that she continued the struggle now on different levels within the institution. We have strong diplomat, successful entrepreneur, and innovative women who have been voice of the survivor from conflict zone, and also the advocate and activist from women's right. At the same time, we acknowledge the hardship, violation, and obstacles the women face. That is partly, in my opinion, caused by the culture of our society, which needs to be continuously confronted. Also, the women themselves, as statistics show that substantial number of women avoiding the engagement in different era. As far as the authority and the government concerned, I confidently state that the Kurdistan Regional Government has committed itself publicly and has moral and human and institutional obligation to ensure women's rights preserved. Their engagement is widened, the proper ground provided for them to flourish and prosper in all sectors. For that, there are several laws and legislation that Kurdistan Parliament has passed, several landmark legislation, including the law against domestic violence, the strategy on combating violence against women, and the personal status law to advance gender equality and women's empowerment. So these are all many laws that we can name a lot of them, and I'm sure the panelists will elaborate more on that. And also, the female representation in Parliament has increased from 25% to 30%. My government and the Kurdistan Regional Government ensure that the government's authority fully respect the right of women and girls. Hence, several measures have been taken by the KRG to implement human rights education in schools and universities, as education contribute to promoting equality and sustainable development in the region. And for that, Gender Equality Center has or have been established across university. We are placing a higher priority on promoting equality and human rights to protect individuals' rights and advance equality of opportunity for all. However, despite the positive development we have seen, certain limitation and shortcoming still exist, but the Kurdistan region is committed to eliminating and combating them. That will be fulfilled with a collective effort. I'm sure we will hear from the panelists a different perspective of women's engagement and the related issues of concern that we all learn and benefit from to further promote women's empowerment. And I shall stop here. And once again, happy International Women's Day to all of you and the women in Kurdistan and around the world. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kakarwan, for your kind words. Just to provide a brief context of this event, our speakers for the panel will speak for 5 to 10 minutes. Then we will move to a discussion and Q&A afterwards. To contribute to the discussion, you can use Q&A function that is in your Zoom screen. Please type your questions there and we'll come back to you. Before we ask our first speaker to speak, I would like to share a message of support from Baroness Fiona Hodgson, who is a long-standing campaigner on women's issue. She's a party whip in the House of Lords and co-chairs the APPG on women, peace and security. Unfortunately, she was not able to join us today due to her busy schedule. As you all know, today is an important day packed with many events, but she has kindly sent us a message of support. I would like to share her quote with you on the screen. She said, "I'm so sorry not to be able to take part in your discussion today. International Women's Day gives us all the opportunity to pause and reflect on how life is for women in all our countries. I well remember my last visit to Kurdistan in 2017 when I met so many remarkable women. I know that many of them have suffered greatly and how hard it's for those who have had to flee from the terrors of war and have become displaced. Empowering women is important for societies everywhere. I hope that your event will emphasize the importance of hearing women's voices and encouraging them to take their place in helping to find solutions to the problems being faced in Kurdistan. I wish you all a very happy International Women's Day." I would like to extend our profound appreciation to Baroness Hodgson for sharing this great message of hope with the Kurdish women. And now I would like to start our panel with the first speaker, Ms. Siham Jabali Maman, who is joining us from Kurdistan. Ms. Siham is a senior advisor at the Department of Foreign Relations of the Kurdistan Regional Government. She has been in leadership position in 5 successive cabinets and has been a part of the rapidly expanding relations between the KRG and the foreign governments. Ms. Siam has participated in various programs, courses, workshops related to the field of diplomacy. She played a critical role in the MOU that was signed between DFR and USIP regarding the UN Resolution 1325, and she supervises its implementation. Ms. Siam heads 2 main committees in the DFR, one to follow up on the implementing the Iraq National Action Plan on UNSCR 1325 in the Kurdistan region and Iraq, and the United Nations Universal Periodic Review. Ms. Siham will talk about women in diplomacy, participation, and leadership, how to mobilize the participation of women in the field of diplomacy. Siam Khan, please welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Liga Khan. Happy International Women's Day, and for this beautiful ladies. Let's making women as a matter today. Kakarwan Liga Khan, thank you very much for the introduction. I would like to give a special thanks to Kakarwan and his team for organizing this panel discussion. A special thanks for all participants who agreed to participate in this discussion. Thank you for providing this opportunity to discuss this very important topic. In fact, it's an important topic, and there are lots of points which can be discussed to enrich this panel. Of course, Kurdistan Regional Government has come a long way regarding the status of women and the role they have played in political, economic, and social aspects of the region. We have witnessed lots of positive changes, yet we have a longer way to go. If we compare Kurdistan today with 10 years or 20 years ago, there has been lots of progress, but this is not the final destination that we want. Women are playing an important role in the universities, in the education sectors, in the health sectors, and recently in the business sectors. You can find them working in the public and private sector. However, we do not have a lot of women in the leading or decision-making role until yet. Therefore, while we have seen many positive changes in and some progress in areas related to women participation, we need to work on other areas. Challenges are still there: economic challenges, social challenges, culture and religion challenges, gender imbalance. There is inequality and social injustice, but chances of equal opportunity for women are becoming available nowadays. There is a political will from the main political parties, the KDP, PUK, and Goran leadership in the region to empower women. There is also will from the parliament and government to promote and support women, but this is not enough. There are points that we have to discuss. First, political parties need to be more serious in promoting women for leadership roles where they have the capacity of making decisions. Second, government to empower more women to see more in decision-making position. Third, the parliament implement laws in favor of women and in favor of involving more women in the decision-making role. The fourth point is the media and civil society to promote such kind of approach. The fifth point is the importance of education and raising awareness through education the children on gender equality. Because if we want a real change to take places, we need to start with the youngest generation and teach girls and boys how to accept each other as equals. The seventh is the society must provide equal opportunity for men and women by installing an appropriate legal environment and encouraging gender equality in practice. And finally, the women themselves and women organizations have to common gender to promote this. But more importantly, we need our participant in the international community to help support in this process. I would also like to thank the Baroness for sending her the message and congratulate us. My message here for her excellency. I hope she will take it to consideration. But as I said, the more important, we need our participant in the international community to help support this process. For example, we need the UK Parliament to help the Kurdistan Regional Parliament as a whole, but also women in the UK Parliament to help women in Kurdistan so that to know their role, responsibility, their mission, and what they can do to help promote this subject. If we talk about women in diplomacy and diplomatic field, we do not have any women in this field because it's a new subject to the region as a whole, and we do not have institutions that would help student and government officials to graduate in. We have university, but they are not enough in order to bring up diplomats. In Iraq, for example, there's a Foreign Service Institute. Before recruiting anyone at the Iraqi Foreign Ministry, they interview people and they will have them to be there for 1-year courses for junior diplomat who newly joined to be a diplomat, and a 6-month courses for ambassadors who will act as an ambassador for Iraq. But in Kurdistan region, we do not have this. Therefore, the UK institution, the diplomatic academic, the European Union, and even the Western countries can help Kurdistan in order to promote and support women who want to work in the diplomatic field. We do not want any woman to be a leader just for the sake of being a woman. We want women who are capable, who have characteristic of a leader, and who will be able to defend the region and make decisions which will benefit the region and the population as a whole. And for that capacity, we need the international community support so that we can train them and prepare them for a diplomatic mission. We need to have more engagement with the region to provide more opportunity for women in Kurdistan to engage at conferences and also to participate in the government delegations. For example, any capacity building program for human resources development program or given to KRG, whether to the government or the parliament or to the political party, it must have a condition that the candidate will have at least half of them to be a woman, so that the woman could be able to be empowered and to have a say. Yes, I mentioned earlier, Kurdistan region has done a lot to improve the status of women, to provide equal opportunity, to empower them, but we are not there. We have made some progress. For example, 20 years ago, we would not have seen women in the field of security and police, but thanks to the courage of the women themselves, the support of their families, and the approach of the government to reach to what we have today. And we have to thank the UN Security Council Resolution 1325 for women, peace and security, that we have more women in the police forces and the Peshmerga forces as a whole. But we still need women voices to have influence on the agenda of human security and peace. Women can play a role. They can contribute and participate in the sector. When they give opportunity, it's important to make sure that networking is available, capacity building programs are available, exchange programs and informations are available. Even inviting people from Kurdistan to the UK or other country is costly and impossible. But it's possible to send trainers to Kurdistan or take small number of women who have the potential and want to be diplomats to train them, and they can train the other peers when they back. There are means and ways in address. Definitely for this way, we need to evaluate the current status of women in Kurdistan to see where women are today, where do they stand, what they have achieved and what they have not able to achieve, what are the obstacles, what are the challenges, how can we address these challenges and solve them. Are they social? Are they culture? Are they governmental, traditional, or legislative? We need to address issues. Where are the government and the parliament stands for these issues? Do not forget that we are living in Kurdistan, which is part of Iraq. In Iraq, we see the rise and the control of the Islamic parties, which means political Islamism is rising. Looking at the neighborhood, Turkey, Iran, Syria, where Islamic parties are rising, considering the environment where we live. In this background, we need to address these issues in such a way that we can attract more support, but in a national way, so that our women can play a positive role in solving these problems. We need to categorize them. How can we address the social problem? How can we address the economical problems? When we need women to be in control and in power, we need them to be socially and economically independent. When women in leadership of political party have a say in the decision, it means that they have been truly in power. When a woman sits in the cabinet level and they can discuss and put forward the demand of women, this means that they have been in power. In parliament also, we need that there are women who have engaged in addressing women issues, means that women are on the right path. We have the political will. Oh, the society is ready and women are ready themselves, but we have not achieved that, considering the pandemic, the economic challenges, the fight against ISIS, political differences between Erbil and Baghdad, and etc. are all challenges. Especially this years, the theme has chosen to be challenged and also focus on gender equality. So I can say that challenges are huge, but opportunities are also huge. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Siam Khan. You have discussed a lot of opportunities and challenges, and we'll come back to you during the discussion. And now I would like to move to the next speaker who is joining us from Kurdistan, Tanya Gilly Khailany. She's a former member of the Iraqi parliament and a co-founder of the Seed Foundation, an organization that works with survivors of violence and trafficking in Iraq. Tanya Khan was one of the key parliamentarians who legislated the 25% quota for women in Iraqi Provisional Council. As an expert on political participation and peace building, she will be speaking about women in armed conflict and post-conflict situation, and she will be covering the stories of Yazidi female survivors. Tanya Khan, please welcome.
Thank you, Hawar Khan, Karwan, and everybody on the panel and everybody who's watching today. It truly is an honor to be on this panel and to discuss such an important subject, especially having people from all around the world listening to us and listening to what Kurdish women have accomplished and what we still can accomplish. And thank you for that lovely introduction. So as Hawar Khan said, speaking about my own experience and how I view the progress of women and where we were and where we have gotten to, definitely there's a lot that has happened in the last few years, as Siam Khan had mentioned. But one of the important things that we have to look at is that, you know, we talk about women's empowerment, we talk about women playing a leading role, we talk about women in the decision-making process, but yet that is a very small number. That is very few women that can play that role. However, if we look at society as a whole, and if we look at what role women can play and where they actually sit in society, I think this is where we have to think about it. Now, I am a former politician, and I decided not to continue with politics, and I started and I co-founded Seed Foundation, an organization I founded with my a dear friend, Sherry Talabani, and we wanted to ensure that women are on the forefront of the different sectors. So it's not just about ensuring that women are involved in politics or they're involved in or involved in business, but also in these different sectors. So when we founded Seed as a development organization, we really wanted to ensure that women can, and actually all individuals in the Kurdistan region can have the right opportunities to ensure that they can be contributing members of society and they can find their place, whether it is at the, you know, at the helm of the government, or if it's, you know, as a teacher or as a mother at home. So to ensure that all these different spheres have been covered. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about our organization and what we do. And Since most of our clients are actually from within the Yazidi community, one of the main focus that we work on is we provide case management, we provide mental health support, we provide legal services, and we provide different we provide different services to the survivors of violence. But our organization was founded in 2014, and we are a women-led organization. So all of the top management of the organization are all women, and we believe we are a local NGO, but we believe in applying international best standards, but mixing it with the local know-how to ensure that there is acceptance to the concept and to the way we do things. So our vision really is to ensure that we have a prosperous Kurdistan that provides equal opportunities for all, and the way and the protection of rights for all different communities and minorities. And the way we want to do this is that we wanted to focus on social, educational, economic development. And also we work with marginalized groups and we work with vulnerable groups, and to ensure that they are protected and they are contributing members of society. So in order for us to have positive impact, we work in different domains. And the way we do the work is that we promote gender equality and we counter gender-based violence through, whether it's through providing services or through providing training and education and training to partners, whether they're in government or other NGOs. And also we work on strengthening child protection from ever-evolving protection threats. We work on improving mental health and psychosocial well-being. We also work on combating trafficking in persons and human trafficking in general. Our approach in our organization is that we work on, we provide case management and we provide comprehensive care and service delivery to all of our clients. We work through education and training and supervision programs to strengthen the capacity of the service providers within the KRI. So like I said, whether they're in the government institutions, whether in the educational institutions, or working with other NGOs. And also we work on advocacy and providing technical assistance to promote transformative changes in laws, policies, regulations, institutional practices, as well as social norms, beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors. And we also believe in operational excellence. That's something that we very much apply to our work, and a lot of NGOs we hope will do the same. The idea here is that we believe in capacity building and training for our staff to ensure that a lot of the young women specifically that are working with us, they have better opportunities. And as Siham Khan was saying, it's not enough to put a woman in a place. You have to ensure that she has the right training and she has the right she has the right tools to be able to perform in her position. If we talk about women in armed conflict and in post-conflict situations, so why we founded SEED, one of the reasons we did this was when we started talking about founding this organization, we really wanted to ensure that we can have a lasting impact. And Iraq, the Kurdistan region, has been through so many different conflicts, and we will continue to go through conflict. Unfortunately, this is something that is a reality in this region. But then how do we recover post-conflict? I think that is something that a lot of entities kind of tend to overlook. And if we look at something as simple as the generational trauma that the different generation of women have actually gone through, and individuals in general in the Kurdistan region have gone through, it is something that was that we have not been able to break from. So when ISIS came and they took over, 1/3 of Iraq's land, and then they, unfortunately, they enslaved our sisters, and they they really treated the women quite badly. It was important that we actually were able to tackle how we can help these individuals to cope and to be able to deal with the trauma that they have went through. So when we founded SEED organization, we wanted to ensure that we are contributing not just to the humanitarian, but also to the medium and the long-term impact that the mental health of these survivors will have on the region as a whole. Also, one of the good news I think that I can deliver here today is that, as some of you may be aware, or most of you would be aware, on March 1st, the Yazidi female survivor bill was actually voted on in Parliament. But today it was actually signed into law, so it is official. It was signed by the president. This is the first time ever that a law like this recognizes the need to bring justice back to the women specifically in Iraq. So, and they actually renamed the law into the I think the Yazidi, Turkmen, and Shabak survivors law. So, which is definitely the first time ever that something like this has happened in Iraq. This definitely is a milestone. This is the first time something like this happens, where women in particular are told that we recognize you as victims, we recognize you as survivors, and we want to ensure that you have the rights, so you can actually rejoin the society or rejoin the community. I would like to talk a little bit about some of the work that we do in terms of the survivors or the cases that we have serviced in the last year. As you all know, COVID was quite difficult on many individuals, on everybody actually worldwide, and Kurdistan was no different. And unfortunately, women were the ones that were affected the most, according to many reports, international reports and studies, etc. And this is another battle that women had to face, whether it was in their workplace or whether at home. The number of violence or domestic violence actually went up. So these are all things that were quite challenging, but we were still able to continue to service our clients. So we actually were able to service 570 clients last year, and we tried to get creative and when providing these services. And I really have to be thankful to our team because they really did try different ways. They tried different methodologies in order to be able to reach out to our clients, who are mostly Yazidi women, to ensure that they continue with their with the support that they're getting with regards to mental health, with regards to the case management, and also following up on their legal cases. So that is something that we are very proud of, to say that, despite all the obstacles, we were able to still continue to provide services. One of the other points that I would like to point out here is that, working in the NGO sector or working in the non-governmental sector, a lot of people look at it as a soft power, I can even say, or they don't see it as important. So we actually find that a lot of women tend to find this is where they're finding their place, is in the NGO sector, or the non-governmental organizations. So you'll find a lot of organizations, they will have, women will kind of go and work there. They have founded these organizations, they work in these organizations, and so on. But one of the things that I think that in general, the people in Kurdistan, in the beginning, they really didn't think of it as something that can be very influential. But really, the way we look at it, is the way I look at it, is that when you're talking about the NGOs or working in that humanitarian or that development sector, really you're kind of in the middle of it all. You have the politics, or you have the top-down approach where a lot of political parties maybe were looking at, or a lot of other government entities, etc., they'd be looking down, and then you have the bottom up approach. But I find that the NGOs really tend to be in the middle, because they tend to be able to influence both sides of the spectrum. So whether they're working with the top leaderships, whether they're advocating, whether they are lobbying the politicians to ensure that we have proper legislation and procedures in place in order to guarantee people's rights, and to ensure that those at risk of violence actually are being protected, but also at the same time raising awareness within the population to ensure that people they know where to go for help. For example, they know how to how to, I guess, go to court, where they need to go, and these kinds of things. So I think that there is a lot of things that can be done. And again, if we go back to in a post-conflict environment, there is always a need to look at the medium term and the long term impact of anything that is being done, and not just focusing on the immediate impact of these conflicts. Because no matter what happens, and none of us are I think even as individual Kurdistanis, we all are traumatized. We all have, whether we ourselves were actually exposed to violence or somebody we know. So there's a lot of, secondary and tertiary trauma. And because we have not dealt with these these conflicts in the past in a way in order for us to be able to kind of overcome, or to be able to cope with these traumas, I think it's become a generational re-traumatization that we are seeing. So, right now in the month of March, when we have all these celebrations of the Raparin and the revolutions that happened and things like that. But at the same time, we never really stopped to think, okay, what about what happened next? It's great, we're celebrating all these days and we're commemorating them, but then it's more than just having these TV documentaries. It's more than just putting out a monument. There has to be something that really helps the individuals to be able to overcome and to be able to kind of I don't want to say move on, but really, because nobody, when you have been traumatized, you don't really just kind of, you don't become better. It's about coping. And this is one of the things that it's fairly new in Kurdistan, that we are recognizing these coping, or the need for coping, or the need for medium and long-term solutions for our problems, and not just the immediate. And definitely the Yazidi survivor bill, I think, was a very positive note, because that really recognized women as survivors and tried to meet their needs. And here I must say also the fact that it was the Kurdistani list, and they were unified in terms of, first of all, even putting this law forward, with the backing of the president of Iraq, that this law was actually put on the schedule. This law was voted on, and then the role that the Women's Committee, especially the Kurdistani members of the Women's Committee, played in order to ensure that this law gets passed, and it does not take away from the soul of the law, and kind of ensuring that it still does recognize the genocide that happened to the Yazidis, and recognizing the Yazidi survivors and what services that are required for them. I think that is very important. And I am very proud to say that, it was the people of Kurdistan that did this, and, and we will continue to support the survivors of violence and the survivors of war, to ensure that, these things do not happen again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tanya Khan, for sharing your expertise and experience and the activities of SEED with us. We would like to elaborate more on the points you raised later on in the discussion. Thank you again. Now I would like to move to the other speaker, Dr. Sama Mani. She's an academic and author. She has been playing a very influential role in many fields, including politics, philosophy, human rights, and gender equality. She was a Peshmerga, and she has introduced various initiative courses and publication on gender. She has been focusing on philosophy of mind, knowledge, science, and language. On this important day, she has published her new book on women and philosophy of gender throughout Kurdistan. In this webinar, she'll be talking about gender equality and women empowerment, how the Kurdish women could have greater voice and choice to participate fully and equally in all aspects of political, economic, and social life. Dr. Sama, please welcome. Sorry, Dr. Sama, you're muted. We can't hear you. Thank you.
My apology. I hope you can hear me now. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yeah, you can hear you. Thank you.
I said greetings to everyone, and I thank you very much for inviting me on this day. 8th of March, Women's Day, to give you what I think is needed in Kurdistan, also to talk and to listen to other contributors, which I really value and appreciate, and I'm glad I heard what I heard today so far. Yes, the title is to talk about gender equality in all sections, if I sum it up. But I am going to take you to a new area, which has been neglected so far for one reason, which is basically, if you work in university, if you produce theories, then you should be fine, you should be covered, you should be supported, and there is no gender issue. Especially, I work in philosophy, and everyone who works in philosophy or in sciences, they know that it is very difficult to tackle any gender equality because philosophy is counted as gender neutral. There is no prejudice. Is highly valued, and so is sciences. Now I mean, if there are people who can hear me and they are from Britain and European countries, we have tackled that for decades now, and we have established quite good outcome. Still need a lot to be done in relation to this. But today I'm talking about what is needed in Kurdistan, and my book today is going to be published. Actually, has been published because of the time differences between England and Kurdistan, and it is all about that. So what is it about? I'm not going to give you the entire detail of my arguments, which is a few arguments I have produced all together, because otherwise there is no point for people to read it. But I'm going to take you through a few points, which is I think is very important for participants to hear it, and also for people who are listening, and hopefully from people from the universities and from the government, as well as I have produced some solution to these problems as well. So we are academics, we have quite plenty of universities. In fact, we have 33 universities in the Kurdish region of Iraq, which is very good number, and they do variety of subject, and 2 of them do philosophy, actually 3 of them now doing philosophy and have philosophy departments. But do we have many women doing philosophy? Well, just like every other country, at the BA level, we have plenty of students. In fact, I was teaching there for 2.5 years sort of time. Majority of BA class were women. But do you see them when they come to master degrees? The number will drop hugely. And then do you see them when it comes to PhD, it will drop again. Do you see them when they get employed by the university, the number will drop again. And do you see them fulfilling their potential to become professors, to produce arguments, theories, to challenge, to write? That's almost is non-existence. Okay, so we have a problem. And I thought about that, either I have to just criticize and challenge, or just introduce a section in philosophy from now on to take care of all of that, which I call philosophy of gender. In philosophy of gender, we have the environment, which is universities, and also we have the attached environment to the academic environment, which is intellectual hubs hubs rather, and centers, publication houses, all the culture centers, and universities. What I mean, I have to say, we have 33 gender centers inside of universities, which is mean, if you calculate 33 universities and 33 gender centers, it means every university have one gender center, but they haven't started their work yet. It has been established. They have, every gender center have one manager, but no staff and no material to teach, and nobody there to teach any gender courses. So we need to tackle that. We need to start that. But their job is limited. We still need some law, to make the university environment gender friendly, all of them, regardless of what they study, and also to have these gender centers to start doing their jobs. One of the area I have experienced is problematic is none of these environment that I have mentioned, including the universities, understand gender issue. The staff, the management, the leaders, they need to be trained. They need to open their eyes and see what is gender issue, what sort of problem, what is a prejudice, how to perform, how we perform a better environment, and to identify what is these gender prejudice is affect, and how they affect, and how to eliminate them. Now, we can do that by law, by introducing law. We can do that, as we heard today, that we have produced a law, new law in regarding of the these women, which is very good. I'm really delighted to hear that. I know that. I knew about it, but I didn't know they will sign it today. And we have to introduce gender law, that to be implemented in all area in the society, universities or otherwise. And that is one of the solution that I have proposed at the end of it, to really to work on that with the universities and with the government, how to produce that law. Obviously I produced a few arguments, I'm not going to talk about today, but there is one, I may talk about one argument there, which is how the environment, where there is a prejudice against women, can contribute into philosophy itself, because it will produce one-sided, imbalanced philosophy, and also to eliminate women from getting their potential and getting leading the departments, the universities, a project, a philosophical project, and identifying and designing topics for investigation, philosophy investigation, then that will affect philosophy itself. What sort of philosophy do we produce? Now, philosophy is a new area in Kurdistan. It has been there for quite some time, but still is a new ground, and we can have an input in that ground and balance it well. So that book is all about that. Obviously, I don't know, I'm aware, because I've been threatened not to talk much about the book, as they want to sell it, and it's not for me but for them, and they want to make people aware of some social prejudice and gender prejudice. Obviously, when we talk about prejudice, they all have similarity. So what I have produced in that book, it can be used for other type of prejudice, and as other constraint on other groups that suffer from prejudice, and they're eliminated from producing theories and from raising voice in academic level. So I'm going to leave it at that. And thank you very much again for inviting me here.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sama, and we would like to congratulate you on your publication, and we look forward to reading it. We would like to ask you more questions later on the book in the discussion. Thank you very much. And now I would like to move to the next speaker, Dr. Tanya Ismail, who is recognized as one of the most innovative women in the UK, as she was announced a winner of Women in Innovation Award in 2019 by Innovative UK for inventing a paper coating technology to replace plastic liner in coffee cups. Her innovative technology also gained her the top prize Diamond Award at Math Challenge Switzerland 2020. She was the first female to pick up the Diamond Prize. She is the CEO and founder of Sigma, a company focusing on the development of social technology delivering solution to global challenges. In this webinar, Dr. Tanya will share her expertise and also talk about the role of women in business and how to maximize women's contribution to the economy. Dr. Tanya, please welcome.
Yeah, do you hear me? Yeah, thank you so much, Lega Khan. Thank you so much, Karwan, for the kind introduction. Thank you so much for the speakers and the kind insight into the role of the women. So I'd like to take the opportunity today to congratulate them and congratulate all the women in every single corner of the world on the International Women's Day. The roles that they play and they're still playing, the achievements that they have achieved, and there's still plenty to achieve. It's a day to celebrate, but also remember to relax as well. I'm trying to remember myself as well. So let me tell you a bit about myself and my journey here in the UK. Maybe that will help somebody out there listening to us today. I'm Tanya Ismail. I'm the CEO and founder of SGMA. I am, I don't know, do you hear me, Lega Khan? I am, yeah?
Yes, yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so I'm a mother of 3, so I'm an ordinary woman. I have 3 beautiful children. I moved to the UK mid-1990s. When I arrived to the UK, I wasn't able to say 2 words properly in English. I was scared to go on the bus on my own. Yeah, I've faced so many challenges so far. Being a Kurdish female Muslim woman in the UK, it's not an easy thing. I was not only didn't know the language, but I also didn't know the system as well. So I've, you know, it has been a journey since, you know, I've turned 50 this year. So when I was younger, I was full of energy and thinking, actually, I can change the world. You know, I was like, so many things that I'm not happy about, I want to change. But, you know, as you become more mature, you realize all what you need is to change yourself. And that would be the starting point. So after entering my 40s, I started to read a lot about, so I can understand myself, what is it that I need to do for the rest of my life. And I came across the book of Paul McKenna at the time. And one question that he put across to know yourself a bit better was, what is it if you do for the rest of your life, it will make you happy? And trust me, it took me 6 months to figure out what is it that it will make me happy for the rest of my life. Because, well, you know, when you are asked this question, you'd immediately thinking of my, like, you know, money, children, marriage, you know, love, all the things that you know, things that we're thinking about on a daily basis. But if you're thinking of a lifetime aim that you want to happy on a single day basis, that when you wake up in the morning, what would that be? And after thinking so hard, I realized actually what makes me happy is when I'm able to put a smile on other people's face. But then I'm thinking, okay, who am I to be able to put smiles on other people's face? Do you know, I'm just an ordinary person. So I started to list off my strengths, what are my strengths, and what is it that makes me, what makes it unique to me as a person. So I've realized that the knowledge I had, which I gained during my PhD at the University of Manchester, because I won a scholarship from Royal Society of Chemistry in the UK in 2000 to do my PhD there. I focused on a technology called soil gel technology, which is basically making glass-like materials at room temperature. So I realized the knowledge that I had at the time, it will take the industry another 10, 15 years to develop the same understanding. So for me, it was the point of, okay, how am I going to use that unique selling point that I have? So I started to mapping the global landscape. I spent 12 months to study the global industry, who's doing what, where the gaps are in the market. I've generated my own directory, and I've started to dig deep into where the market opportunity is. And after the 12 months, I've started networking. So the networking sessions I've started to attend that relates to my field. So I've started locally, of course, first. And we have a local innovation center where I started to network there. And I came across an organization called Enterprise Europe Network, which they come under the Innovate UK umbrella. So they helped me with studying my idea a bit more, and they also helped me with making a grant application to Innovate UK in 2014. And I got a £5,000 as a grant at the time, which I used to hire the facility at a local university. And I started to test my ideas, because I designed my product just using a pen and paper on my kitchen table. So I had no idea whether it's going to work or not. So it was a very, very high risk. But that small grant helped me to test my idea, and I made my first prototype in 2015. And then when the first prototype was ready and it was working very nicely, there was plenty of other challenges, of course. I mean, the main thing I focused at the time when I made my prototype was to make sure that there is a commercial case out of it. You can actually make a product to the market and make profit out of it. This is crucial to make it to go out from an ordinary research. So I had that point in hand, and then I started 2015 until 2017, 2 years exactly, as a single female founder, having the surname of Ismail. It wasn't easy to set up a chemical company. So the challenges were so difficult, because I had to get a license in place to set up my own company, and also the insurance in place. It took probably, I think it was about 10 or 11 months before we managed to get the insurance, because I wasn't affiliated with any big organizations or university. I was just me, myself, and I trying to set up a chemical company. So engaging with the local council and the people from, the government agencies in the UK from London, I started to get the help that I need and managed to find a place. And with help of my family, in 2017, I had the key to my own premises, completely independent, and SGMA was set up with a mission to make a toxic-free world, products that are really people and planet friendly. So from 2017 until 2019, we started to, okay, coating is applicable to many industries. Which industry are we going to focus on? And, it would be more attractive to ourselves, our investors, and so I can engage properly with the industries. And we had to optimize the product, because we just had the first prototype. We had to optimize it, develop it further for a particular industry, and replacing plastic by more sustainable product, sustainable material was the outstanding one. The market worth $400 billion a year. It's incredibly massive. And, for us, for our product to work in that sector, it was incredibly mind-blowing. So we started to develop the product a bit further. So we improved on the prototype, and we started to engage with the investors and also with IP attorneys, so we can protect our technology, because you have a technology, how do you protect it in the global market? It's just something that I never came across. I didn't know anybody within our community that can help me and direct me within all the challenges I'm facing. So with the help of some, key people from London, they helped me to figure out my IP, and they opened my eyes more about how can I actually protect my IP. So we started to work on patents. So we had a top city firm in London, law firm, to work and protect on our IP. And in 2019, I was announced as one of the Women Innovation winner in the UK. So that was really a cool thing, because out of sudden I found myself to be treated like a celebrity, which I was like, I'm only working from a garage, garage size premises, not very fancy place at the moment. So we kind of, when the announcement went out, within days, the level of the exposure was incredible. We had top brands that we, like picking up the phone, dropping us a line saying, oh, we would like to talk to you, congratulations, we need to know more about your technology. So the level of engagement was just like mind blowing. It's like, I never thought that we can do this. And we also got £50,000 as a fund so we can improve our technology further. So since 2019 until now, we have been working on scaling up our technology, working very closely with our industry partners in Europe and America. Last summer, about 3-4 months ago, we have raised £500,000 on Angel's Den investment online platform for our technology to scale it up. And we have, I also won the Mass Challenge Diamond Prize, the first female to win such a prize, and also came with £125,000 for our company, so to help us to further finishing the development. And at the moment, as we stand today, we remain the only technology, to the best of our knowledge, of course, we remain the only technology in the world that we have a technology that's 100% plastic and microplastic free, that is capable to solve the packaging problem in the world. We currently have 7 patents filed, and my company is valued at £7 million. And we are continuing the development of scale-up process with a vision that we'd be able to one day put the smile on your face, guys, and also to be able to put a coffee cup in your hand that's plastic and microplastic free, and to where it's guilt-free, so you don't feel the guilt when you drink from that cup. So that's my journey have been so far, and it would be nice if I can just make a point here on this particular day, since we are all about women. It'd be nice if I can see more women involved, Kurdish women involved in the sector. When I go networking, I see them, to know more about their idea, to see if I can help with anyway, because I have been through a hell of amount of challenges for a number of years until we, so it'd be nice to see them, so they come out. There's a lot of help and support available, by the way. Being in the UK gives you that advantage of having access to multiple platforms. The UK government started in the last 5 years to pay a lot of attention in the role of women in business and innovation, because after they have done a research, they found out that actually by encouraging more women to get involved in business and innovation, that will open a door of about £1.8 billion pounds a year to improve the UK economy. So it would be good. I'm sure that we have so many talented women here in the UK, and not also in the UK, actually, even in Kurdistan, because there's so many programs that there are open for international women. If you have a groundbreaking idea, if you have a something that you are working on and thinking of, unless you try, you wouldn't know. And just reach out and make yourself more visible. It would be nice to hear from them. So yeah, I'll hand over back to you, Lega. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Fania Khan. I'll get back to you to ask you for more tips on how women can develop their business ideas. Thank you again. Now I would like to ask our next speaker, who would be the last speaker, Roida Mustafa. She's a British Kurdish doctoral candidate at Kingston University, London. She writes on social political affairs concerning the Kurdistan region, and she's an advocate for greater rights for those with developmental disabilities. She is a founder of Kurdish Policy Board, a grassroots movement that aims to increase British Kurdish engagement, integration, and political representation across the Kurdistan, across the United Kingdom. In this webinar, she will be talking about diaspora and transnationality. How can the female diaspora contribute to the national and international developments? Roida Khan, please welcome.
Thank you for inviting me today. I'm very happy to be with you all, particularly given that it's International Women's Day. I love Dr. Tanya's energy. I was, had a really long day, and then just hearing how positive and energetic you are, I loved it. And I love that you want to help other women follow your footsteps. I think women in diaspora, we can play a very good role, a prominent role in empowering women within Kurdistan region, but at the same time, we have limitations. One of the limitations I have found personally is that, we're raised in, for example, I was raised in England. I was raised with a set of values, with a different experience. And then you go to Kurdistan, you somehow assume that in more ways than one, that women could also have those opportunities if they just try hard enough. But the truth is there are multiple layers of barriers that they face. So in terms of how we, the women in diaspora, can contribute towards female empowerment and development, I would say the most important thing is to find a mechanism where we can talk. And this is where I've not found any platforms that brings together women in Kurdistan, in Europe, in America, and other countries, where we can discuss an agenda for women's empowerment and progress outside of the narrative as victims or as victims of domestic violence, of human trafficking, but actually, discussing things like what can we learn about the plight of women in UK in regards to childcare? What can we do more for Kurdish women to have access to greater political representation in places like Iraq, where you either need to be on a quota or you need to support a political party to actually get somewhere? But to kind of highlight what I am doing at the moment, I am working with Kurdish people across the United Kingdom to increase our political representation and to make them more active locally, because for years and years we've been one leg in Kurdistan, one leg in UK, and I want us to actually find a way where we can reach our utmost potential in the United Kingdom and then take that where at the same time we're promoting the best of British expertise and promoting something within Kurdistan region. I wanted to highlight someone called Mivan Baba Bekir, and she's doing something called, she's the CEO of Full Fact, and she's a British Kurdish woman, and she's she's established a project where she's pairing up people in Syria, in Iraq, in Turkey and Iran with technology savvy individuals within the UK. So that's one way where you could kind of see the actual product of UK expertise taking the lead. And she is taking young people of all ages who are into software development, who actually need a guide. So I know Dr. Tanya said that, when she started out, she didn't have a system of support. So this is what Mivan is doing. She's trying to kind of give back to young Kurds, and in fact, anyone within those countries that are conflict-ridden, an opportunity to escape that cycle. Personally, one of the projects, excuse me, I recently was involved in was to promote British expertise in the field of autism, and that's where we try to provide teachers and families with workshops so that they know how to deal and raise a child with a developmental disorder. So there's a ton of things we can do from the diaspora, but we just lack, I know it sounds confusing, but we lack direction. Where are we going with all of these things we're doing? We've got dozens of individuals who are doing tiny little things throughout Kurdistan region, but we don't have, a sort of end goal, you know, and we don't have a sort of platform where we can bring everyone together and actually have an agenda that would make all our efforts more meaningful and actually more connected. In addition to that, I wanted to highlight something else on building for the future generation. So when I was 10 years ago, when I was 18 years old, it was really hard. No, actually 10 years ago, I was 20. I've just forgotten, I'm in my 30s now. So 10 years ago, it was very difficult for a young Kurdish girl, women growing up in England. I had no support system. I had no idea on, you know, which political party I wanted to support here, what university I wanted to go, what I wanted to study. So now we want to change all of that. We actually want to be as robust as the British Indian community or the British Sikh community or the British Jewish community. We want our communities across the country to come together, to work together, to increase our political representation, actually work in a way where, you know, we're fully integrated in UK and giving back to the Kurdistan region. And a while ago, we talked about how if you're a diaspora, if it's not a burden, but there's this expectation that we have to give back to Kurdistan, but we are also fully part of the countries that we're in. You know, I am 100% British as much as I'm 100% Kurdish. So it would be unfair to kind of have an expectation where Kurds in Europe or in Western countries only contribute back to Kurdistan, only, you know, take the best of what we learn and have here and go back to Kurdistan. But we also want to fully integrate where we live. So I don't have much more to say other than the future's definitely bright. It's not all it's not all gloom, and hopefully in the years to come we're going to work much better together, not just as women but across the platform with men as well. And I really hope the takeaway from this event would be to have a platform where we can discuss a national agenda for women, and the members of parliament within the United Kingdom would be more than happy to support any Iraqi, Kurdish or other community efforts in empowering women. It's just a question of connecting both sides and bringing both sides together. And I don't have much more to add. I love listening to all of you. I find that you are all a bit older than me, and I'm very humbled and honored to be in the presence of everyone. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Ruwaida Khan. You have shared with us the project of Miva Khan. We did extend her an invitation to participate today and share her experience with us, but maybe she has been busy and she was not able to join. We hope to host her in other events in the upcoming future. And now I would like to, we have a very limited timing left, so I would like to move to the question and answers. We have received a few questions directed to each speakers. And I will start by directing the first one to Tanya Khan. With regards to the contribution of women in peace building, how can we encourage women to get more involved in conflict resolution and peacemaking?
Wow, I think that's a PhD dissertation right there. Maybe Dr. Samal can help us with that. The important thing really is, when we're talking about the contribution of women in peace building, is to ensure that you always have a voice, or you believe that your voice is always heard. I think that's what's important, because when we're talking about peace building, it's not just about the negotiators that sit at the table, you know, and I have been involved in many efforts, you know, bringing different women from different political parties and from different entities to ensure that, you know, our voices are heard and our demands as women and what matters to us as women is important. Because, you know, when you have at the negotiations table, the men are sitting there, they're talking about how many weapons, you know, what territory and whatnot. But for us, it's about how safe it is for my children to go to school. How can I ensure that they can come back without being harmed? How can I ensure my elderly, you know, parents can go to the hospital and get the services that they need? So the priorities are different. So in order to ensure that women really can be part of this process, is that, you know, just not to be quiet, you know, and whenever when they say that if there's a, you know, a door closes, you should always try a window. Continue to speak up. And I think now with the rise of social media and, you know, what we call the citizen journalism and the different methods by which people can express themselves, it doesn't have to be like, you know, I remember Ruwaida said something that us being from the older generation, I remember the days when we used to go on demonstrations and, you know, holding up signs. That's how we expressed our disdain, or that's how we expressed our you know, our activism. But now it's very different. You can be sitting behind a computer screen, and just as we're doing today in this meeting, and you can be talking to so many different people. So, you know, just ensure that no matter what they say, no matter how they see, you know, in terms of your opinion is not significant, or your opinion does not matter, or your voice is not loud enough, I think it's important for you to continue talking. And I'd also want to highlight what Ruwaida said in terms of having that collective voice, ensuring that you really are, you know, getting buy-in from others. You're getting people that believe in your cause, and ensure, you know, and they all join you. And you know, I think I'm going to end up quoting Dr. Seuss there, but definitely, you know, everybody matters, no matter how big or small. And I think that that's what's important, is to ensure that you continue speaking.
Thank you very much. I definitely agree with you. I would like to move to the next question directed to Siam Khan. It says, what are the KRG's top priority issues when it comes to advancing gender equality? Hello, Siam Khan, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you, Hawar Khan. Thank you for the question. Actually, to be honest, when it comes to the KRG is a very new emerged region to this part of the Iraq. As I said, Kurdistan region has done a lot. The establishment of the Women Council, which is attached directly to the Prime Minister's office, is a huge step for the KRG to have done in these steps. And as Dr. Samal said, that we have 33 university, and each university has its own gender equality center, but it has not been active and playing their role. It is the same with the KRG government ministerials that they have established. It has become an order from the Council of Ministers to establish the gender equality center in all the ministries and all the directorates. Also, we have it. We have a committee that belongs to the gender equality program, but we need more to understand, as she said, what is gender equality. What is the steps that the government should take it? We have organizations, we have UN organizations also with different programs. They are engaging with the country, but it's not only one issues that to focus on. It has been very broadened, and with different programs. Definitely we are working on that as a government, but we still need the international engagement, the support from the specialized women organizations to have provide a different program for the government sectors, women's. And also the other, it's not only the public sectors, that the other sectors is needed to have focus on these topics. I believe that with the coming plans that the KRG is having, the program will set up in a very good shape, and women could play a role in this, because I believe that if the woman has the ability and the power and the desire is there, women could reach to any point of the positions and the levels that they want. But it's in the hand of the women. we saw that the desire is very, very low for the woman to come. It has been always, and it has not been easy for the woman to take a different position, different professional position in the KRG, in the diplomatic mission, in the private sector, but very recently the economical situation has affected the level of the society, that and also affected the desire of the woman to step forward and to receive different approaches and to have different views by themselves. I did a research in 2012 for my leadership action plan. I went to the universities and to just see how difference between the boys and the girls for the graduation, to see if there is a huge gap between boys and girls for the level of the graduation. I made a comparison between 2008 and 2012. In 2008, the graduation amount of the boys portion was 52, girls were 48. In 2012, it was exactly vice versa. In 2012, girls were 52 and boys were 48. And I did the research, and the reason behind of how this big gap started from the family, from the society, from the girls, the women themselves, it belongs to the level of the economic that we saw from 2008 to 12, a huge gap of economical progress started in KRG, and it has affected even on the level of the education. So I believe that education is a key, and the desire of the woman is a key. And if they are ready, the government and the political party and the institutions are also ready to step forward.
Thank you very much. I think advancing gender equality is one of the top priorities for the Kurdistan Regional Government. And,
absolutely.
And this has to be like, this needs a lot of efforts to tackle many challenges that women are facing. This would take me to a question directed to Dr. Sama. Could you elaborate more on your arguments, and also to what extent do you think your recommendation would influence the decision-making process and the education system in Kurdistan?
Let me see if not muted. Okay, it's not muted. You have you will hear me. My recommendation is plenty of recommendation in the book, and also I can say a few things from hearing the contributors to this panel. First of all, I'm glad to hear them. Is all achievement, which is very good. But we have to acknowledge there are other side where the people are trying to achieve something in Kurdistan, women, I mean, people. But they haven't accomplished anything, and for many reasons. One of the reasons is promoting members of political parties rather than member of public in general. This is one thing women can tackle that issue, because we're supposed to be united. We're supposed to encourage other women, whether they belong to our circle of group or not, to our politic or not. And this is very important for us. The first speaker, I do remember she mentioned that we need agent, we need people, thinkers to do this job and that job in leadership. But we do have them. We do have them in Europe. You can take them back. They do not have to belong to one famous family or one political parties. They can be anyone. You can advertise for it, and I'm sure there will be plenty who would like to serve Kurdistan on every different level, on a leadership level, and they are fully equipped, fully trained in Europe, ready to be employed. This is one way to see things, and to see it as a solution to the problem of non-existing people who are trained to do the lead the sectors. What I have proposed in my book, I have discussed that obviously before writing the book, is basically is awareness. Gender awareness is different. You can be a wonderful scientist, you can be a wonderful philosopher, but then you can hold prejudice against gender. Okay, if you are not gender aware, if you don't discuss the prejudice against women, if you don't discuss the problems that raised by this prejudice, and how that prejudice will come into everyday practice in your department, in your university, in making policies, in dealing with problems, female lecturers or female student or female staff. This is one way to do that. And the other one I have suggested is the law. We need to introduce new law. We improved a lot, as some of the speakers have mentioned that, and that is a good thing. And therefore, we need new laws. We need to polish up our laws. We need to sort of improve our law, and we just need to go with it, to go with these achievements, and that we have. These are the things, and I cannot suggest a concrete outcome from here, but I'm ready to be involved in these matters. Actually, when I went back, that was in September last year, I met quite a few people who kindly provided me with information about in the Ministry of Higher Education. And they're all keen to do things, but yet they are not, they cannot see that they have to involve other people to do that for them. You see, this is a problem. You need to involve other people. Obviously, if you have to, let me be very bold here, okay? If you have established 33 gender centers, but they haven't worked anything so far, then there is a problem. Otherwise, they would have laid down a policy, they would have had an action plan, they would have organized courses, they would have recruited people, getting fund, and what have you. So that you need to bring other people who can do these certain things to managing these 33 gender centers. I know we have advisors and they are dealing with that, but really advisors are very limited because they cannot handle it. They cannot do everything by themselves, and they should let other people, other women, by people I mean women mainly, they should let other women to come forward and to do the job that's required to be done for these centers to do their job.
Thank you very much, Dr.
I have to say something else. I have a TV meeting or TV interview in about half an hour in Kurdistan. So I really need to go. If there isn't, if you have any other question, let's do it now rather than come back to it later. If you don't have any question relation to my speech, then I would like to thank you very much again to Mr. Karwan Tahir and to yourself and to every participant. I'm delighted to meet you all and to hear what you had to say, and that this was wonderful meeting, and I hope we will enjoy much more meeting on specific topics, and you can unite us between people, qualified people from UK and qualified people within Kurdistan, and we can do quite a lot of these meetings and fruitful solutions. So I'm going to leave you, and it was wonderful today to meet you all.
Thank you very much for your contribution and recommendation. We look forward to hosting you and meeting you in person in the near future and discuss your publications with us and the women in the Kurdistan region. We have many questions directed to all the speakers, but our timing doesn't allow us. We have extended like another 3 minutes, so I would like to ask other speakers to contribute as well, and then we will be closing the webinar. Thank you very much, Dr. Sama. Now I would like to move to a different question directed to Roida Khan. As you know, diaspora are important actors in the positive developments of countries of origin. What strategies would you recommend to women to enable and engage and empower them in the diaspora?
It's a very good question that caught me off guard. So what strategies can you
So what strategies would you recommend to enable and engage and empower more women in the diaspora?
Yeah, so in the United Kingdom, we've got multiple support groups for women to enter into parliament, to enter into local elections. You have 50-50 parliament, you have Women to Win, and they're organizations that lots of members of parliament support. They provide workshops, they provide you with peer groups, and the work they do is phenomenal. I've been in talks with them recently. They've taught me so much about the UK political system. So my advice would be, if you have any first sort of, as Dr. Fania, clarified earlier today, be clear about what you want to achieve, and then if you want to be more involved in politics to promote women empowerment, sign up and join a political party as the starting point, and from there that political party has an entire support system to help facilitate your progress into politics. But I also wanted to mention something that Dr. Siham said. So we have lots of organizations in the UK. They're very forthcoming to us being involved in Iraq and in Kurdistan, but they need guidance. We need to know, at least I need to know, we have MPs that want to talk to their female counterparts in Iraq and Kurdistan. They want to, but they just don't know how to, and they don't know where to start. So I think a good idea would be, put in place an agenda and actually communicate it to the Kurds in diaspora, because together we can achieve much more than if we all work individually. But in terms of female empowerment, I think for me at least, when I talk about female empowerment, it's not just Kurdish women empowerment, it's a global thing. Women globally suffer from inequality. So there are more than one way that I imagine parties in UK, in Germany, in France, in all over Europe and across the Western world, they're very forthcoming to engage with communities that want to have shared values, and the Kurdish people have that. So I think, if you are an individual who wants to bridge both sides, go for it. But first, at least understand the system on our side, and then bring both sides together. We'll be doing some stuff in relation to this. Just watch out for our social media. We'll be trying to bring Iraqi MPs and Afghani MPs and UK MPs together to promote an agenda for female equality. But that's my answer for that.
Thank you very much. Now I would like to move to the last question. We're running out of time. Dr. Fania, we just have 1 minute for you to answer the last question, please. How to make innovation more inclusive for women?
I would say, probably the best thing would be is to first off do your bit, get out and do the networking, and then get to the people that you think that they are your role models, see what they have done so you can follow the similar footstep, get yourself out. and possibly maybe with the role the KRG playing nowadays is really good to see that how you get involved to getting more of the community together in the UK. It's fantastic. In the Kurdistan, I would say having a tech hub probably is so important for the entrepreneurs and innovators to turn up to, so they can surround themselves by like-minded people, because it's such a lonely journey at the beginning and it's so hard. If you get the support early stages, you can go much faster and develop your technology much quicker. So these are some of the strategies. I mean, do your bit, and also like if the KRG here play the role to direct them to what are the opportunities available, and in Kurdistan having a tech hub and bring along all the strong-minded and leaders in the world that they can help them to develop their technology. I think we as a Kurdish nation, we have a great powerful women in there. Let's get them out, let them play their role.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all the tips, experiences you've shared with us. We're very sorry for not being able to answer all the questions that have been directed to our participants. They have covered really important topics. I would like to end the discussion by thanking you all for joining us today. We are grateful for your generous time and contribution. Your expertise and stories of success in different fields have been very inspirational. Promoting gender equality is an important part of the KRG UK's mission in the UK. Kurdish women undoubtedly have made very significant progress on a great scale, but challenges still remain and more must be done to build a truly inclusive society. We hope to mark this important day more broadly next year and meet you all in person. Keep safe and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much. Bye.